Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss with you Module 3, Science 7, Quarter 4, Part 1. This is our topper, your Science 7 teacher. Before anything else, let's have this one. Kumustahan? Okay. Who are you from the pictures? How are you today? Okay, thank you, class. Let's proceed. So our topic for today is all about the layers of atmosphere. What I need to know. The sun supplies energy to Earth that is necessary for its survival. The heat of the sun is too much to bear if not because of a blanket of air that surrounds the Earth, and we call that atmosphere. The atmosphere is not just a layer of air or gases, but it is more than that. It contains the oxygen that we breathe, it allows us to communicate, and has the ozone layer that protects us from harmful solar radiation. A lot of happening in the atmosphere, such as weather system and the atmospheric phenomena caused by the sun or solar energy. Therefore, it is necessary that one should be familiar with the structure and composition of the atmosphere. One then can give reasons for the weather events as well as global atmospheric phenomena like greenhouse effect and global warming that result from changes in the composition of the gases of the atmosphere brought by some human activity. How is Earth's atmosphere affected by solar energy? This module will guide you in understanding how energy from the sun interacts with the layers of the atmosphere. You will learn more about Earth's atmosphere, the place on Earth that is vital to our existence. Most essential learning competency. Discuss how energy from the sun interacts with the layers of the atmosphere. And this module is divided into two lessons. For today's lesson, we have layers of the atmosphere, and for tomorrow's lesson, we have the greenhouse effect. After going through this module, you are expected to explain the basis for the division of the layers of the atmosphere, describe the features of each layer of the atmosphere, describe greenhouse effect, identify the sources of greenhouse gases, and cite ways on how to slow down the effects of global warming. So before we proceed with the main lesson, let's have this capsule pretest. What I know. Directions. Choose the best answer from the given choices. Write the letter of your choice in our class point up. Are you ready? I'm going to read the questions once. Then you may give your answer. Number 1. In which layer of the atmosphere where nearly weather phenomena occur? Is it A. Mesosphere, B. Stratosphere, C. Thermosphere, D. Troposphere? Very good. That is correct. It is letter B. Stratosphere. Number 2 question. Which layer protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays? Is it A. Mesosphere, B. Stratosphere, C. Troposphere, or D. Ozone layer? Correct. That is D. Ozone layer. Number 3 question. What are the most abundant gases in Earth's atmosphere? Is it A. Nitrogen and oxygen, B. Nitrogen and hydrogen, C. Carbon dioxide and oxygen, D. Carbon dioxide and nitrogen? Great, that's correct. It's letter A. Nitrogen and oxygen. Let's have number 4 question. In which layer of the atmosphere do planes fly to get out from the weather disturbances? A. Exosphere, B. Mesosphere, C. Stratosphere, or D. Thermosphere? Correct. It is stratosphere. Letter C. Number 5 question. What happens to the temperature as you go higher in the troposphere? A. It increases. B. It decreases. C. It stays the same. D. It increases then decreases. Correct. It's letter B. It decreases. Number 6. In which layer of the Earth's atmosphere does meteoroids burn up? A. Mesosphere. B. Stratosphere. C. Thermosphere. Or D. Troposphere. Great! It is letter A. Mesosphere. Let's up number 7 question. Why is the presence of ozone important to the survival of living things on Earth? A. It warms Earth's surface. B. It helps in cloud formation. C. It makes jets flying more comfortable. Or D. It offers protection from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Correct. It's letter D. It offers protection from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Number 8. Which of the following describes the temperature in the troposphere and stratosphere? A. The stratosphere is hotter than the troposphere. B. The troposphere is hotter than the stratosphere. C. Low temperature exists in the troposphere and stratosphere. Or D. The temperature in the troposphere is equal to the stratosphere. Correct. That is letter A. The stratosphere is hotter than the troposphere. Let's proceed with question number 9. What is the correct order of Earth's atmospheric layers from bottom to top? 1. Exosphere. 2. Mesosphere. 3. Stratosphere. 4. Thermosphere. 5. Troposphere. Is it A. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2? B. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? C. 5, 3, 2, 4, 1? Or D. 3, 5, 2, 4, 2? Okay, that is correct. It's letter C. 5, 3, 2, 4, and 1. Very good. Let's proceed with 10th question. Which of the following correctly describes the stratosphere? It is an atmospheric ozone layer. B. It has high concentration of ionized particles. C. It is a layer important to telecommunications. Or D. It is a layer extending to height of about 8 kilometers. Super. That is correct. It's letter A. It is an atmospheric ozone layer. Let's proceed with question number 11. Which of the following are the special features of mesosphere? 1. It is where the ozone layer is found. 2. It is the coldest layer of the atmosphere. 3. It is where the formation of Aurora occurs. 4. It is where the meteors burn up upon entering the Earth. Is it A. 1 and 2 only? B. 2 and 3 only? C. 2 and 4 only? And D. 3 and 4 only? And you are correct. It's 2 and 4 only. It's letter C. Number 12 question. How does energy from the sun enter the atmosphere? A. It reaches Earth and enters the atmosphere through radiation. B. The sun's energy enters anywhere in the space including Earth. C. It enters the atmosphere by vibrating through air particles of the atmosphere. Or D. The plants in the Earth attract the sun's energy, making it enter the Earth's atmosphere. Very well said. That's letter A. It reaches Earth and enters the atmosphere through radiation. Let's proceed with 13th question. What characteristics differentiate troposphere from other layers of atmosphere? 1. It is where most water vapor is found. 2. It begins about 16 km above the Earth's surface. 3. It is where all weather phenomena takes place. Or 4. It is where temperature decreases with altitude at 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet? Is it 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, or 1, 2, 3 and 4? Very good. All of the above. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Letter D. Let's have number 14. Layers of the atmosphere are classified according to changes in temperature. Is the statement correct? A. No, because it depends on the events that is happening on that layer. B. Yes, because from the troposphere to exosphere, the temperature is gradually increasing. C. No, because layers of the atmosphere were classified based on their altitude alone. Or D. Yes, because there is a significant change in temperature in each layers of the atmosphere. You're correct. It's letter D. Yes, because there is a significant change in temperature in each layers of the atmosphere. So let's have the last question for our review. Edmar, a pilot of a large jet, chose to fly in the Troposphere to avoid the weather system. Is his decision correct? A. Yes, because the temperature in the stratosphere is increasing. B. Yes, because weather phenomenon exists only in the troposphere. C. No, because weather system occurs in all layers of the atmosphere. Or D. No, because most of the weather phenomenon occurs at the stratosphere. You're correct. Letter B. Yes, because weather phenomenon exists only in the troposphere. Thank you. For those who got it perfect, congratulations. So let's proceed. Lesson 1 is all about the layers of the atmosphere. What's in? Earth is surrounded by a blanket of air called atmosphere, and this protects the planet and enables life to exist. Our atmosphere contains different types of gases. Consequently, air is made up mostly nitrogen with 78% and oxygen with 21% gases. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas and is essential for living things to grow. Oxygen, on the other hand, is necessary for humans and animals for survival. And this gas is given off by plants as one of byproducts during photosynthesis. The remaining 1% is made up of other gases such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, ozone, argon, neon, helium, hydrogen, dust particles, and chlorofluorocarbons. The said gases exist only in very small amounts, and they are called trace gases. Suppose the percentage of nitrogen and oxygen in air were reversed. What do you think would happen? Oxidation will proceed at a much faster rate. We will age sooner. Fruits will ripen faster. Rusting and burning go on at a much faster rate. Remember that. What if the concentration of carbon dioxide and nitrogen were reversed? Would life exist on Earth? The 0.03% concentration of carbon dioxide is sufficient to keep Earth warm and permits life to exist. Increasing its concentration to 78% will greatly increase Earth's temperature. Very well said. Do you now see that even the gas composition of the atmosphere is made just right for us? Altering it will surely result in imbalance. What do you think are some human activities that tend to change the concentration of the gases in the atmosphere? But before we answer this question, let us wander first to the planet's jacket, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is a very interesting matter to study. We thought it is a thin layer of gas, but it has several layers. These layers differ in altitude, temperature, and other characteristics. Since many processes and phenomena occur in the atmosphere, it is necessary for us to learn about these layers and important events happening in each layer. In addition, meteorology is the branch of science which deals with the study of the atmosphere and its corresponding weather patterns. People who study atmosphere are called meteorologists. What's new? Activity 1. Atmosphere. How are we divided? Objectives. In this activity, you will be able to gather information about Earth's atmosphere based on a graph. Specifically, you will describe the features of each of the 5 layers, compare the features of 5 layers, and explain the basis for the division of the layers of the atmosphere. Direction. Study the graph below and answer the succeeding questions and write your answer on your paper. You're given on the y-axis as the altitude in terms of kilometers, and the x-axis the temperature in degrees Celsius. You're given exosphere, thermosphere, mesosphere, stratosphere, and troposphere. Figure 1. Altitude and temperature profile of each layer of the atmosphere. Based on the graph, the 5 layers of the atmosphere starting from the Earth's surface are troposphere, 8 to 14.5 kilometer, stratosphere about 50 kilometers from the Earth, mesosphere is about 50 to 80 kilometers from the Earth, thermosphere about 80 to 110 kilometers from the Earth, and exosphere cannot be determined from the graph. In the lower part of the stratosphere, the temperature increases with height. The same is observed starting from the thermosphere up to exosphere. But in troposphere and mesosphere, the temperature decreases as height increases. In the troposphere, the temperature decreases as the altitude, height of the atmosphere increases. In the stratosphere, the heights around 10 to 20 kilometers above the ground, the temperature is almost the same. From about 20 to 50 kilometers above, the temperature increases. In the mesosphere, the temperature decreases as height increases. In the thermosphere, from heights about 87 to 100 kilometers, the temperature change is small. It increases gradually from about 100 to 110 kilometers. From 110 kilometers to the end of the layer, the temperature steadily increases with height. The gradual increase in temperature with altitude continues to the exosphere. The layers of the Earth's atmosphere is divided based on the temperature differences. Overall, the graph shows that the closer the atmospheric layer is to the Sun, example, thermosphere and exosphere, the hotter the temperature. However, if one studies the temperature in the lower layer, the reverse trend is observed. For example, in the troposphere, the temperature close to the Earth is higher than the temperature above the ground. Here are the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. As you can see, in exosphere, it is 800 to 3,000 kilometers from the Earth. It is about 1,200 degrees Celsius, where spaceship and satellite may find. And the next one below is the thermosphere. So it's 80 to 90 to 800 kilometer. It's negative 86.5 to 1,200 degrees Celsius. So this is the place for the Aurora. Next below, mesosphere, 40 to 50 to 80 to 90 kilometer. It is negative 2.5 to negative 86.5 degrees Celsius. This is the place for meteorological rocket and some meteors. The next one below it is the stratosphere. It's 11 to 50 kilometers with negative 56.5 to negative 2.5 degrees Celsius. In here, this is the place for radio sound. And the last one just above the Earth is the troposphere. It is 0 to 12 to 18 kilometers with 15 to negative 56.5 degrees Celsius. It's a place for the passenger plane and the hot air balloon. So, this is it. The illustration of the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so another way around, as you can see, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere, with the corresponding distance from the Earth. What is it? Layers of the atmosphere. The temperature profile of the atmosphere is the basis for dividing the atmosphere into several layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and the exosphere. Each layer has its own distinct characteristics. Let us find out more about them. In troposphere, it starts at the Earth's surface and extends 8 km to 14.5 5 kilometers high because of its gravity pull. About 75% of the gases in the atmosphere can be found in this layer. As altitude increases, the temperature in the troposphere decreases. The main reason why temperature decreases with altitude in the troposphere is that it is heated from below. The atmosphere is predominantly transparent to sunlight, so the sun heats the ground directly. The ground warms the bottom layers of the atmosphere by radiation and by convection. The situation is like water heated in a pan on the stove. The water is hottest at the bottom and coolest at the top. This is troposphere. Figure 2 is the weather in the troposphere. Tropos means change. This layer gets its name from the weather that is constantly changing. Almost all weather changes and patterns happen in this layer. The temperature change in this layer is mainly due to the heat of Earth's surface. Number 2, we have stratosphere. The second layer of the atmosphere is stratosphere. From the word strat means layer. The stratosphere is the layer of air that starts just above the troposphere and extends to about 50 kilometers. In this layer, temperature increases as the altitude increases. This is due to the ozone layer that is found in the stratosphere. The ozone layer absorbs much of the sun's harmful radiation that would otherwise be dangerous to plant and animal life. Ozone is a form of oxygen which absorbs the ultraviolet or UV rays from the sun, which eventually releases heat. This is also the location where aircrafts fly because it is very stable in comparison to troposphere. This is figure 3, jet aircraft and formation of ozone molecule in the stratosphere. Next is mesosphere. The layer between 50 km and 80 km above the Earth's surface is called mesosphere, which is the third layer of the atmosphere. Meso means middle. In this layer, temperature decreases as altitude increases. It has no gases, which can absorb UV rays from the sun. The mesosphere is characterized as a very cold layer with an average temperature of negative 90 degrees Celsius. It is also a thin layer of air, which is still enough to decelerate meteors rushing towards Earth. This thin layer of air adds friction to meteoroids, which becomes meteors, producing a burning tail and seen as shooting stars. This is figure 4, burning of meteors in mesosphere. Next, thermosphere. The fourth layer is the thermosphere. Thermo means heat. The temperature of this gas layer can go beyond 1000 degrees Celsius. This increase in temperature is due to the absorption of intense solar radiation by the limited number of remaining molecular oxygen. The thermosphere is between 80 km and 110 km above the Earth. A layer in the thermosphere called ionosphere is made of gas particles charged by solar energy. Ionosphere bounces up radio waves from different parts of the world. Also, a remarkable feature that is happening in ionosphere is the occurrence of auroras. An aurora is a display of gloss in the night sky within the polar areas. The auroras, are Aurora borealis in the north and Aurora australis in the south, can be seen as white, green, red, blue, or purple. Space shuttles also fly in this area. So this is figure 5 for Aurora borealis. Exosphere. Exosphere is the outermost layer of the atmosphere. Exo means outside. It is more than 700 km, maybe up to 10,000 km from the surface of Earth with no clear boundary. This layer continues into the outer space where gas can easily move due to weak gravitational pulls. Due to its nature, the air here is very thin. Satellites are stationed in this area 500 kilometer to 1000 kilometer from Earth. So figure 6, these are all about satellites. Role of atmosphere in sustaining life on Earth. Surrounding Earth is a layer of gas which is critical factor in sustaining life on the planet. This layer of gas, called the atmosphere, is held together by Earth's gravity. It makes Earth livable by regulating solar energy, or the energy coming from the sun, which drives all processes on Earth. Because of the atmosphere, Earth is not too hot nor too cold to sustain life. This characteristic sets Earth apart from other planets. What's more, activity 2, how are we different? So you're given the direction, fill in the table with necessary data, write your answers on a separate sheet of paper, then first layer had been answered already for you. For the first one is layer troposphere about 10 kilometer. This is estimated distance from the ground. Estimated temperature decreases 6.5 degrees to about negative 60 degrees Celsius. And relationship between temperature and altitude. As altitude increases, temperature decreases. Events happening in that layer, cloud formation and weather occur. Let's see. So, next is stratosphere, about 50 kilometer. Estimated temperature increases from an average of negative 51 degrees Celsius to negative 15 degrees Celsius. A relationship between temp and altitude. Temperature increases as the altitude increases. And events happening in this layer, formation of ozone molecules occur. The third one is mesosphere. It's between 50 to 80 kilometer. It's the estimated distance from the ground. Estimated temperature is average of temperature of negative 90 degrees Celsius. A relationship between temperature and altitude. Temperature decreases as altitude increases, and events happening in that layer, burning of meteors occur. The next one is thermosphere, between 80 to 110 kilometer. It's the estimated distance from the ground. Estimated temperature, the temperature can go beyond 1000 degrees Celsius. Relationship between temp and altitude. Temperature increases as altitude increases. Then what's happening in this layer? Formation of Aurora borealis and Aurora australis. And the last one is the exosphere. Estimated distance from the ground is 70 kilometer to 10,000 kilometer. Estimated temperature can reach up to 1700 degrees Celsius. Relationship between temp and altitude. Temperature increases as altitude increases. Events happening in this layer. Satellites are stationed in this area. So that will be the answer for activity number 2. What I've learned. Directions. Complete the sentences below by choosing from the pool of words which in the box. Write your answer. Okay, so it is 1 to 15. Let's up. Earth is surrounded by blanket of air called atmosphere. It is a mixture of gases. The most abundant found in atmosphere is nitrogen, and there are 5 layers in the atmosphere, namely troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. The 2 factors that are considered in determining the layers of the atmosphere are the temperature and the altitude. The atmosphere has vital roles for us. First, it protects us from dangerous radiation from the sun through the ozone layer. Second, it contains oxygen we breathe. Lastly, it makes Earth livable by regulating solar energy, or the energy coming from the sun, which drives all life processes on Earth. Because of the atmosphere, Earth is not too hot nor too cold to sustain life. That's all for this part. What can I do? Directions. Write a thank you letter to atmosphere for its job well done. You may also include in your letter how you can help protect the Earth's atmosphere. Write your output on separate sheet of paper. Okay, before we end the class, let's have the assessment. Let us see if you learn something from our. Are you ready? Number 1, what do you call a mixture of gases and particles that surround a planet held by gravity? That is correct. It is letter A, atmosphere. What layer of the atmosphere that starts just above the troposphere and extends about 50 kilometers? Correct. It is exosphere. That is letter A. In which of the atmospheric layer is Aurora borealis found? True. That is correct. Letter D, thermosphere. What is the most abundant element on Earth's atmosphere? Correct. It's nitrogen. Letter C. Which of the following is considered to be as the coldest layer? Correct. It is mesosphere. Letter B. What is meant by trace gases? Very well said. It's letter D. They are present in very small amounts. What is the basis for the division of the layers of the atmosphere? Very good. Changing temperature. Letter A. Why do hikers put on thicker clothes when climbing high mountains? Yes, to survive the low temperature as they go higher. It's letter B. Number 9. What is the correct order of the Earth's atmospheric layers from bottom to top? Very good. It is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Letter D. Which of the following statements is or are true about the ozone layer? 1. It is found in the stratosphere. 2. It is made up of 3 oxygen atoms. 3. It blocks UV rays from getting to Earth. 4. It prevents meteors from getting to Earth. Correct. It's letter D. 2, 3, and 4 only. Which of the following correctly describes a wind graph? 1. Thermosphere has the lowest temperature. 2. Temperature of mesosphere reaches negative 90 degrees Celsius. 3. Troposphere is the layer found near the Earth's surface. 4. Stratosphere has an altitude that ranges 20 km to 40 km. Very good. It's letter D. 2 and 3 and 4 only. Which of the following is true about the relationship between altitude and temperature in each atmospheric layer? 1. Troposphere, temperature decreases as altitude increases. 2. In stratosphere, temperature increases as altitude increases. 3. In mesosphere, temperature decreases as altitude increases. 4. In thermosphere, the temperature decreases as altitude increases. Is it A, B, C, or D? Correct. It's letter C. 1, 2, and 3 only. Number 13. What are the vital roles of Earth's atmosphere? 1. Creates meteors in the sky. 2. Provides the oxygen that we breathe. 3. Protects us from harmful UV radiation. 4. Helps regulate the temperature on Earth. Is it A, B, C, or D? Correct. It's 3 and 4 only. Letter B. Number 14. Life on Earth would be impossible without the presence of atmosphere. Is this statement correct? Is the statement correct? Yes, because it protects life on Earth by absorbing UV radiation and regulating the planet's temperature. It's letter D. And let's have the last one. Meteors make it through exosphere and thermosphere without much trouble, but not the same case when they start to enter the mesosphere because of the gases that cause friction and create heat. Would it better if meteors can freely enter the Earth's surface? No, because it may lead to destruction of lives. That is letter C. Congratulations for those who got it perfect. So there is an additional activities. Wow, that was tough job. You have finished studying the first lesson, but before you completely exit, try to answer this additional activity. Complete the crossword by identifying the words being described in each item, and you may write your answer in your notebook. So we have the crossword puzzle. Let's have it. Number 2, it is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. That's nitrogen. Number 3, it is an atmospheric layer located between the mesosphere and exosphere. That is thermosphere. Number 5, it is a blanket of air that surrounds Earth, atmosphere. It is the air that we breathe necessary for our survival, oxygen. And number 9, it is in this layer where the ozone is found, stratosphere. For down part, it is where the meteors burn before entering Earth, mesosphere. And number 4, it is the outermost layer of the atmosphere, exosphere. And 6, it is the vertical elevation of an object above the surface, such as sea level or land, of a planet of natural satellite. It is the altitude. 7, in this layer where most of the weather occurs, troposphere. And 10, it is made up of 3 oxygen atoms. This is ozone. Okay, thank you for listening. Hope you understand the lesson. See you again.